The week before the college entrance exam, I specifically asked my parents to clear out 50 rooms in our hotel for my classmates to stay in for free, until the college entrance exam results came out. Our class monitor, Chen Yinyan, had performed terribly. She led the entire class in spreading rumors online, claiming that our hotel deliberately carried out construction work in the middle of the night to sabotage her exam performance. The post went viral. The hotel was reported and forced to close. My parents lost all their savings, and their hair turned white overnight. From beginning to end, not a single one of the 50 classmates staying at my family's hotel stood up to say a fair word. When I opened my eyes again, I was back a week before the college entrance examination. My parents were discussing, "Daughter, the college entrance examination is coming up soon. Should we reserve rooms for your classmates?" I put down my chopsticks and said, "No need, not a single room needs to be reserved." My parents were stunned, but we're the only hotel around here. Other inns are all 5 kilometers away. I smiled. That's perfect. Standing at the classroom door, I looked at the familiar faces inside, and a wave of nausea churned in my stomach. I clearly remember, in my previous life, it was these very people who, when my family was slandered all over the internet and reported until our business was shut down, not a single one of them stood up to speak a word of fairness. Chen Yan took the lead in posting online, claiming that my family's hotel was deliberately making noise with late-night construction just to sabotage her chances of getting into college. The post received tens of thousands of likes and shares, trending for 2 full days. My parents have never offended anyone in their lives. They're just ordinary, honest businesspeople. During those 2 days, the hotel's phone was flooded with cancellations and abusive calls. The Culture and Tourism Bureau came to investigate. The Housing and Urban Rural Development Bureau came to measure noise, and some people even went to the hotel entrance to hold banners. My father's hair turned more than half white overnight, and my mother cried until her eyes were almost blind. In the end, the hotel was ordered to suspend business for rectification. Fines, coupled with refunds, compensation, and contract terminations, wiped out all of our family's savings. I pulled myself back to the present and walked into the classroom. The classroom was noisy, with students in small groups discussing the college entrance examination. Some were comparing answers, some were flipping through books, and others were talking about where they would go to play after the exam. I walked to my seat and sat down, hanging my school bag on the side of the desk. Zhao Xiaoma in the front row turned around and smiled at me. "Jiang Yu, have you finished your homework?" In her previous life, she stayed in the most expensive suite in my house. My mother specifically changed it for her, saying that girls should live more comfortably. Not only that, but she also ate free breakfast for 3 days. Later, when the internet was scolding me, she didn't say anything. I glanced at her but didn't respond. Zhao Xiaoma didn't mind my silence and turned back to continue chatting with the person next to her. Class monitor Chen Yinyan walked over to my desk. "Jiang Yu, you're here." I looked up at her. "Chen Yinyan, my good friend, we've been desk mates since the first year of high school. On weekends, I often take her to my house. My mom cooks delicious food for her, and my dad drives her home. I knew her family wasn't well off, so I always insisted on paying the bill." She said she had never been to a 5-star hotel, so I took her to swim and have a buffet at my family's hotel, without letting her spend a single cent. I thought we were friends, but she turned out to be the first person to spread rumors about my family. "What's wrong?" Chen Yinyan tilted her head and looked at me, a hint of confusion in her eyes. "You don't look well. Did you not sleep well?" "I'm fine," I said, my voice even. Chen Yinyan sat down next to me, put her school bag down, and then naturally leaned closer, lowering her voice. "Jiang Yu, where are you staying for the college entrance exam?" In my previous life, it all started with this sentence: "At my family's hotel," I said. Chen Yinyan's eyes lit up. "That's great, your hotel is only 5 minutes from the exam hall, so you don't have to wake up early. I'm so envious of you. You don't have to spend any money. Didn't the school arrange accommodation?" "Staying at school is fine." Chen Yinyan was taken aback, probably not expecting me to say that. "It's really far from the school." Chen Yinyan frowned. "The school is in the east of the city, and the exam hall is in the west. Getting there in the morning would mean losing at least an hour of sleep." "An hour? For the college entrance exam? Can your mental state really be the same if you lose an hour of sleep?" She spoke very seriously. "Then you can go to bed earlier," I said. Chen Yinyan was momentarily speechless. She glanced at me, and there was something indescribable in her eyes. "But," she bit her lip, "if there's a better option, why settle for the worse? Your hotel is only 5 minutes from the exam venue. It would be great if everyone could stay there. We're all classmates, after all. we should help each other out, let's help each other out. I'm all too familiar with this phrase. In my previous life, it was this very phrase that made me feel I should lend a hand, as the class monitor's best friend, and with my family owning a hotel, why wouldn't I help? I helped, and then, the class bell rang. I didn't answer Chen Yinyan. I stood up directly and walked to the other side of the podium with my textbook. I found an empty seat in the back row and sat down. Chen Yinyan looked back at me. I lowered my head and opened the textbook. The Chinese teacher walked in and began explaining the key points for writing essays. I didn't listen to a single word. My mind was filled with those images. Anger and resentment burned like two fires in my chest all morning. Whenever I look up and see those familiar faces, I am reminded of their silence online. 50 faces. I look at each one, memorizing them one by one in my heart. Not a single person stepped forward. The bell rang for the end of school at noon, and the classroom instantly erupted into chaos. Some people packed their bags, some arranged to go to the cafeteria, and some discussed what would be on the afternoon exam. I slowly packed my things, not in a hurry to leave. As expected, the complaints began. This is so annoying. The dorms the school arranged are in the east of the city, and the exam hall is in the west. We have to get up at 6 in the morning, losing an hour of sleep. It was Li Siyuan speaking, a boy sitting in the third row. He slung his school bag over his shoulder, his voice loud enough for the entire classroom to hear. Exactly, and someone in the dorm snores. I already have trouble sleeping, and if I don't sleep well before the college entrance exam, how am I supposed to take it? Lin Siki chimed in. She's known in our class for being a light sleeper. Last time on the spring outing, when we stayed at a hotel, she complained all night about the air conditioning noise from the next room. It would be great if I could have a room to myself, quiet, and go to bed whenever I want. Wang Hao leaned back in his chair, crossing his legs. Tell me about it. Lu Yutong slammed her textbook onto the desk. The problem is that most of the hotels nearby are too far away, and it takes more than 10 minutes by taxi. Moreover, there will definitely be traffic jams during the college entrance examination days. So what if I'm late? It would be great if there were hotels near the school. Yeah, it would be great if there were hotels right next to the exam venue, the kind that you can get to in 5 minutes. As they spoke, their gazes began to drift towards me in unison. I was pretending to pack my school bag, head down, but I knew they were looking at me. I pretended not to hear, zipped up my bag, and walked out through the adjacent aisle. A murmur of whispers came from behind me, but I didn't look back. As I walked out of the classroom door, I heard Zhao Xiaoma say, "What's wrong with Jiang Yu today? She looks so pale. Did she not sleep well?" Then came Chen Yinyan's voice, soft and gentle. "Maybe it's the stress from the upcoming college entrance exams." Listen, how considerate. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and quickened my pace as I headed downstairs. The cafeteria was crowded, so I got my food and found a corner to sit in. Eating alone felt a bit strange. I used to eat with Chen Yinyan all the time, sitting face to face, chatting while we ate, as if we had endless things to talk about. Now that I think about it, how much of those endless conversations was her laying the groundwork, and how much was her scheming? I took a bite of rice, chewed it a couple of times. It had no flavor. In my previous life, when did I start being nice to my classmates? It was probably during the sports meet in my first year of high school, when I brought homemade snacks to share with everyone, and they all said they were delicious. That feeling of being liked by everyone was so good that I started habitually being nice to everyone, treating people to meals, giving birthday gifts, buying everyone coffee before exams, and having classmates over to play on weekends. My parents didn't stop me, they even supported it, saying that classmates should help each other. It's precisely because of this that they took it for granted that I should help them this time too. But the problem is, I've always been the one helping, and no one has ever helped me back. I helped for 3 years, and in the end, I didn't even get a fair word in return. After finishing my meal, I cleared my plate and took out my phone to call my mom. The phone rang twice before she answered, and my mom's voice was warm. "You, have you eaten?" "I've eaten, Mom." I leaned against the cafeteria pillar, lowering my voice. I wanted to ask, have the rooms at our hotel for the 2 days of the college entrance exam been booked yet? "They're booked." My mom's tone was cheerful. "You don't know, they were all booked as soon as they were released. All 50 rooms were booked." Lots of people called to ask. I told your dad if we should clear out the staff dorms too, but your dad said forget it, don't disturb the staff's rest. 50 rooms, all booked. I was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help but laugh. In the previous life, these 50 rooms were made available for free to classmates. In this life, they have all been booked out at full price, not a single room left. What's wrong? My mom asked. Is your classmate going to stay? If so, I'll try to coordinate and see if there are any cancellations. No need, Mom. Don't save any rooms for them, not even one. My mom fell silent for 2 seconds, probably processing what I had said. After all, it's been 3 years, and she knows best what kind of person I am. Suddenly saying I don't need to stay, she must have found it strange. You really don't need to, she confirmed. I really don't. All right then. My mom didn't ask further. Study hard, but don't overwork yourself. After the exam, I'll take you out for some good food. Okay. After hanging up, I stood at the cafeteria entrance, basking in the sun for a while. I took a deep breath, then turned and headed back to the classroom. About 10 minutes later, the front door of the classroom was pushed open. I looked up and saw Chen Yinyan walk in, followed by Li Siyuan and Wang Hao. Chen Yinyan walked straight to the podium. Classmates, wake up, I have something to say. Those who were resting their heads on their desks gradually looked up, gazing at her hazily. Let me tell you all something. Chen Yinyan stood on the podium, regarding the accommodation arrangements for the college entrance exam. I just went to see our homeroom teacher, Mr. Zhang, and shared everyone's thoughts with him. She paused and glanced around the classroom. Teacher Zhang said, the college entrance examination is your own business. As long as you arrive at the examination room on time, the school doesn't care where you live. If you want to stay in a hotel, you can arrange it yourself. As soon as he finished speaking, the classroom buzzed. Some people's eyes lit up, some started whispering to each other, and some showed expressions of relief. However, Chen Yinyan changed the subject, her tone turning somewhat hesitant. As everyone knows, hotels near the exam venue are quite expensive. The cheapest ones cost over 300 yuan per night, and even those are small inns with poor conditions. Those with better environments cost over 500 yuan, and they are still 2 or 3 kilometers away. After saying this, she naturally glanced in my direction. Not just her, everyone in the classroom turned to look at me. I lay on the desk, my chin resting on my arm, staring at her expressionlessly. Jiang Yu's family runs a hotel, Chen Yinyan said with a smile, and it's right next to the exam hall, only a 5-minute walk. Everyone knows that Jiang Yu's hotel is a 5-star establishment with excellent facilities, costing over 1,000 yuan a night. She paused here. The classroom was silent for about 2 seconds, the atmosphere a little awkward. A hint of imperceptible embarrassment flashed across Chen Yinyan's face, but it was quickly masked by a smile. This is what I think. Her voice softened a bit. Nobody wants to sleep poorly during the college entrance exams. If there were better conditions, who wouldn't want them? Jiang Yu's family is so wealthy, and there are only 50 people in our class. Staying for 2 nights shouldn't be a big deal for her family, right? Yeah, Zhao Xiaoma was the first to chime in. Leaning forward from her seat, Jiang Yu, your family's hotel is so close to the exam venue, it wouldn't hurt for us to stay for 2 nights. We're all classmates, so let's help each other out. Exactly. Li Siyuan chimed in. Jiang Yu, you're always so kind to everyone. Could you help us out this time too? The college entrance exam is such a big deal. You wouldn't want to see us mess up because we didn't sleep well, would you? Wang Hao chimed in. That's right, Jiang Yu, your family isn't short on money. Think of it as doing a good deed. All the classmates will remember your kindness. Jiang Yu, you're the best. Could you just talk to your parents about it? Since it's empty anyway, why not let classmates stay? We're not staying for free. We can help promote it, like writing good reviews for the hotel and such. Exactly. We can advertise your hotel online. One sentence after another, everyone chimed in. As I listened to these words, the corners of my mouth slowly turned up. I slowly straightened up from the table. The classroom gradually quieted down, and everyone was waiting for my answer. Chen Yinyan stood on the podium, tilting her head slightly to look at me, that gentle smile still on her lips. I looked at that face, at that gentle smile, and finally spoke. I'm sorry, our hotel is fully booked. The classroom fell silent for a moment, then it exploded. Fully booked? How is that possible? The rooms for the 2 days of the college entrance exam are usually booked up a month in advance, which is quite normal, but we haven't booked yet. You never said you wanted to book, I said calmly. Chen Yinyan's smile froze on her face. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, her eyes holding something I had never seen before. Jiang Yu, she stepped down from the podium, walked over to my desk, and spoke in a voice so low that only I could hear it. Why didn't you say so earlier? I was talking to my classmates for ages. I looked up at her, my eyes as still as a pool of dead water. You didn't ask me either. Chen Yinyan's expression changed. From annoyance, it turned into something indescribable. Her eyes were slightly red, her lips pressed into a thin line, looking as if she were about to cry. Jiangyu, do you have a problem with me? Her voice carried a slight tremor. I feel like you've been avoiding me all day. No, you're overthinking it. Then why did you move to the back row? You always sit next to me, the front row is too noisy. Chen Yinyan froze for a moment, her entire body going stiff. She stared at me for several seconds, then turned and walked back to her seat without saying a word or looking back the entire way. The other students in the classroom were still buzzing with discussion. I slumped back onto the desk, burying my face in my arms. My eyes feel a bit warm, but I don't plan to let anyone see. The first class in the afternoon is math, and I force myself to focus on the lecture. I've already experienced the college entrance exam once in my previous life, so these knowledge points aren't unfamiliar to me, but I can't let my guard down. In this life, I want to do well on the exam, not to prove anything, but for myself. I don't want to ruin my future because of someone else's mistakes like in my previous life. During the break, Chen Yinyan didn't talk to me. She sat at her desk, flipping through her textbook with her head down, occasionally saying a few words to the student next to her. In a very soft voice, as if deliberately keeping her distance. I didn't mind. The last class before school ended was self-study, and our homeroom teacher, Mr. Zhang, came in. He is a middle-aged man in his 40s, with thinning hair, wearing a pair of thick glasses, and speaking in a slow, measured manner. Classmates, regarding the accommodation arrangements for the college entrance exam. Nian Nian came to talk to me about it this afternoon. Teacher Zhang stood on the podium and adjusted his glasses. My stance is that where you stay is your own choice, as long as you don't arrive late. However, I must remind everyone of one thing: don't cause trouble for your classmates. He said this while his gaze inadvertently swept over me. I lowered my eyes, pretending to look at my test paper. Jiangyu's family owns hotels, but that's their family business, so don't put pressure on her. She's 18 now, she should know better. The classroom fell silent for a few seconds, then I heard Zhao Xiaoma mutter softly, "We didn't say anything." Teacher Zhang ignored her and continued to talk about college entrance examination precautions. I looked at the densely packed formulas on the test paper, and my heart was filled with mixed emotions. Teacher Zhang is a good teacher. In my previous life, he also spoke up for me when the online criticism was at its worst. He said in the class group chat, "As far as I know, Jiang Yu's family hotel does not have construction noise," but his words were quickly drowned out. No one listened to him, no one believed him. When the school bell rang, I packed my things and got ready to leave. Chen Yinyan suddenly stood up, walked to the podium, and picked up the blackboard eraser. She glanced back at me. On the way home, I sat on the bus, watching the street scenes slowly recede outside the window. My phone vibrated. It was a message from my mom. Yu, the person who booked the hotel today, called and said there's a change in plans. They cancelled 5 rooms. If any of your classmates need them, just let me know. I stared at the message, silent for a long time. I typed a few words and then deleted them, repeating this several times, until I finally replied with just one word, "Okay." The next morning, I went to school as usual. When I reached the school gate, I saw a crowd gathered in front of the notice board, looking at something. I moved closer and saw a large handwritten poster pinned to the notice board: Gaokao Mutual Aid Group. Accommodation needs collection. The handwriting is beautiful, clearly Chen Yinyan's. Below, she listed a table, stating that students needing accommodation could register here, and she would help coordinate. Coordinate what? Coordinate whose hotel? I glanced at it and walked right past without stopping. When I entered the classroom, Chen Yinyan was already there, sitting at her desk and talking to Zhao Xiaoma. Seeing me come in, she lifted her eyelids to glance at me, then lowered them again and continued talking to Zhao Xiaoma. I've already contacted several hotels and negotiated a group discount, which is about 40% off the original price. However, the ones closest to the exam venue aren't willing to lower their prices because they have no trouble selling out, Zhao Xiaoma said with a worried expression. Even at a 60% discount, it's still expensive. 60% off over 300 is still over 200, and for 2 nights, that's over 500. My parents definitely won't be happy about it. There's nothing we can do about it. Chen Yinyan sighed. You can't just live on the street. I walked straight to the back row and sat down. This spot had a great view. I could see the entire classroom and the sycamore trees on the playground outside the window. Chen Yinyan glanced back at me, then turned away again. The morning class was uneventful. Everything was normal. The only unusual thing was that several people came to find me during the break. First was Zhao Xiaoma. Jiang Yu, she stood by my desk, holding a bag of chips, and spoke as she ate. Are you sure your hotel has no rooms? I heard someone cancelled 5 rooms yesterday. Is that true? News travels fast. I don't know. I didn't ask. Zhao Xiaoma pouted. How could you not know? That's your family's hotel. My parents manage it. I just focus on my studies. Zhao Xiaoma was momentarily speechless, a half-eaten potato chip in her mouth, her expression a little awkward. She stood for 2 seconds, then turned and left. Then it was Li Siyuan. Jiang Yu, he leaned against the wall, hands in his pockets, looking very casual. I wanted to ask, could you save those 5 rooms that were cancelled at your family's hotel for me? I can pay, no need for them to be free, just save 1 room for me. I looked up at him. Li Siyuan, a boy, came from a well-off family and usually wore designer clothes. He could afford to stay in hotels. He just wanted to stay in the best hotels for the least amount of money. You can just book it at the front desk. You can also book it online. It's expensive online. Li Siyuan smiled. Isn't this about trying to pull some strings? You're the boss's daughter. Can't you give me a discount? Sorry, I can't make that decision. Li Siyuan's smile faded a bit. He looked at me for 2 seconds, said, all right, and then left. Next came Wang Hao, Lu Yutong, Lin Siki, one after another. The reasons vary, but the core is the same. Can it be cheaper? Can you save 1 room? Can you help out? I didn't agree to any of them. At lunchtime, I sat alone in a corner of the cafeteria, with a plate of braised pork ribs and a bowl of seaweed egg drop soup in front of me. The ribs were stewed until tender, melting in the mouth, but I didn't have much appetite. My phone vibrated again. This time it was my dad calling. Yu. My dad's voice was a little hoarse. Your mom said there were checkouts yesterday. Do your classmates want them? If so, Dad will keep them for them. No need. Dad, I put a piece of braised pork rib into my mouth and chewed slowly. Just sell them. No need to keep them. Really, no need. My dad confirmed once more. What if your classmates have nowhere to stay and it affects their college entrance exams? They're all classmates. If you can help, lend a hand. If you can help, lend a hand. That's just the kind of person my dad is. Always kind to others, never imagining that there could be such a thing as an ungrateful person in this world. In my past life, he gave the best room to my classmates and stayed in the employee dorm himself. And what was the result? The hotel was reported and forced to shut down. He was in his 50s, and his hair turned completely white overnight. Dad, they've already found a place to stay. Don't worry. That's good, that's good. My father sighed in relief. Then you better study hard. After the exam, Dad will take you out for a big meal. Okay. After hanging up the phone, I finished the rest of my meal, picked up the tray, and went to wash it. At the sink, I ran into a girl from the class next door. She didn't know me, but I knew her. In my previous life, she was one of the few people who spoke up for me online. What did she say again? It seems she said, I'm from the next class, and I also stayed at that hotel during the college entrance exam. I didn't hear any construction noise. Then she was cursed at hundreds of times. They said she was bought off, that she was lying with her eyes open, and that she was a paid shill hired by the hotel. A high school sophomore girl was so verbally abused that she deleted her account. I rinsed my plate, placed it on the rack, and turned back to the classroom. The first class in the afternoon was English, and I listened quite attentively. In my previous life, I did well in English, but in this life, I will do even better, not for others, but for myself. During the break, Chen Yinyan walked up to the podium again. Classmates, I have something to tell you. Her voice was more confident than yesterday, as if she were announcing something important. Among the hotels I contacted yesterday, one is willing to offer us a 50% discount, but it's a bit far from the exam venue, about a 20-minute taxi ride. A chorus of sighs echoed through the classroom. 20 minutes, that's too far. How much would the taxi cost? 2 round trips, plus the accommodation fee. It might be better to just stay at school. Yeah, and on the day of the college entrance exam, there's bound to be traffic. A 20-minute journey could easily turn into an hour. Chen Yinyan waited for everyone to quiet down before continuing. I also think it's a bit far, so I contacted another place. It's only 10 minutes from the exam venue, but it's more expensive. Over 400 a night even after the discount. Over 400, that's nearly 900 for 2 nights. That's way too expensive. Forget it, I'll just stay at school. Me too. Living on campus saves money and hassle. Everyone gave up one after another, and Chen Yinyan stood on the podium with a subtle expression on her face. Her gaze drifted toward me again, as if expecting me to say something. I didn't say anything. I lowered my head to work on the English test paper, the tip of my pen rustling on the paper. Chen Yinyan stood for a few seconds, then walked down from the podium and returned to her seat. Before school ended, the homeroom teacher, Mr. Zhang, came again. He stood on the podium, repeating the precautions for the college entrance exam, and finally mentioned the accommodation arrangements. I heard some students are making arrangements to stay at hotels. Teacher Zhang's tone was neither warm nor cold. Let me say it again, where you stay is your own choice, but don't cause trouble for others, especially don't cause trouble for classmates' families. Their hotels are businesses, not charities. After saying this, he deliberately glanced at Chen Yinyan. Chen Yinyan lowered her head, her bangs covering half of her face, making her expression unclear. After Teacher Zhang left, the classroom fell silent for a few seconds before Zhao Xiaoma's voice rang out, not loud, but loud enough for everyone to hear. The teacher made it sound like we were forcing Jiang Yu. We just asked a question. It's not like we did anything. Exactly, Lin Siki chimed in, and Jiang Yu's family is so wealthy. What's the big deal about helping out? It's not like we're freeloading. We said we could help with promotion. Forget it, Lu Yutong said. We don't understand the world of the rich. Maybe she thinks people like us aren't worthy of staying at her family's hotel. Those words were a bit harsh, and the classroom fell silent for a moment. I sat in the back row, hearing every word of this conversation. My fingers gripped my pen, the knuckles turning white from the force. Not worthy of staying at her family's hotel. I put down the pen, took a deep breath, stood up, picked up my backpack, and walked out of the classroom. A murmur of whispers followed behind me, but I didn't look back. As I walked out of the school gate, I saw a familiar figure. Teacher Zhang stood at the school gate, talking to the security guard. Seeing me come out, he waved. Jiang Yu, come here for a moment. I walked over and stood in front of him. Teacher Zhang looked at me, pushed up his glasses, and after a 2-second silence, he spoke. Are you okay? I was taken aback for a moment, then nodded. I'm fine, don't listen to their nonsense. Teacher Zhang's voice was not loud, but very serious. It's your business that your family owns a hotel, and it has nothing to do with your classmates. Helping them is kindness, and not helping them is your duty. No one has the right to say anything to you. My nose suddenly felt a little sore, and I quickly lowered my head. Thank you, Teacher Zhang. Go back and study hard. Don't let this affect you. I nodded and turned to leave. After walking about a dozen steps, I heard Teacher Zhang sigh behind me and say to the security guard, what's wrong with kids these days? I couldn't make out what the security guard said in response, but I guessed he was probably agreeing. On the way home, I sat on the bus, put my earphones in, and played a random song. The music was so loud that it drowned out all the sounds in the carriage. 3 days before the college entrance exam, the school gave us a break. When I packed up my things and walked out of the classroom, I turned around for one last look. The countdown on the blackboard read, 3 days until the college entrance exam, with the chalk writing crooked and messy, written by the duty student in the morning. The desks and chairs were scattered in disarray, with various review materials and used scratch paper strewn across the floor. I will never return to this classroom again. Carrying my backpack, I walked out of the school gate. The sunlight was bright, warming my face. My phone vibrated. A message from Mom. Yu. The 5 rooms at the hotel have been sold out at full price, not a single one left. Standing at the school gate, I typed a few words, then deleted them, and in the end, I only replied with one word, okay. Just as I slipped my phone into my pocket, hurried footsteps sounded from behind me. Jiang Yu. I turned my head and saw Chen Yinyan running up to me. She was wearing a white hoodie, her hair tied in a ponytail, and a light sheen of sweat on her face. Her expression was a little anxious. She almost tripped as she ran over, stopping about 2 steps away from me and bending over to catch her breath. Why are you walking so fast? I called you several times, but you didn't hear me. Her voice carried a hint of complaint. I didn't hear you, I said. Chen Yinyan straightened up, glanced at me, and then bit her lip. Jiang Yu, I want to talk to you. Talk about what? We're at least desk mates, friends. You've been avoiding me these past few days, and it's really upsetting. As she said this, her eyes reddened, her voice trembling slightly, and she genuinely seemed very sad. I looked at her and suddenly felt it was all quite ridiculous. In my previous life, when my family's hotel was reported and shut down, she cried even more pitifully in front of the cameras than she is now. Chen Yinyan, I wasn't avoiding you. Then why did you move to the back row? Why don't you eat with me anymore? Why don't you answer directly when I ask you about the hotel? She asked 3 questions in a row. each laced with grievance. I looked at her face, the face I had seen for 3 years, beautiful, gentle, and understanding. Every time I didn't do well on an exam, she was the first to comfort me. Every time I was sick and took leave, she would copy my notes and bring them to my home. The friendship between us, in my opinion, was the kind that could last a lifetime, but it was this person who destroyed my home with his own hands. Chen Yanyan, I spoke, my voice very calm, about the hotel. I've already said it's fully booked. I answered you directly, saying it was fully booked, and you don't believe me. What can I do? Chen Yanyan was taken aback for a moment. Her lips moved slightly, but no words came out. As for me moving to the back row, I continued speaking. The front row is too noisy. I want to study quietly. As for meals, I prefer to eat alone. Do I need to report all of this to you? Chen Yanyan's face instantly turned pale. Jiangyu, I didn't mean that. I just what? I interrupted her. You just think because my family is rich, I should let you live in 50 rooms for free. You just think because I'm your friend, I should fix everything for you. You just think if I don't help, I'm stingy, selfish, and don't deserve to be your friend. Chen Yanyan took a step back, and the tears in her eyes finally fell. I didn't think that way. I really didn't think that way. If you didn't think that, then what did you tell your classmates? My voice involuntarily rose a little. You stood on the podium and told the whole class that my family's hotel is right next to the exam venue, that my family is very rich, and that staying for 2 nights is nothing to my family. How many times have I helped you? When have you ever helped me? Chen Yanyan's tears fell even harder. She wiped them away with the back of her hand, her shoulders trembling. Jiangyu, I really didn't mean it that way. I just wanted to help everyone find a convenient place to stay, nothing more. If you wanted to help everyone find a convenient place to stay, why did you have to bring my house into it? Because your house is the closest. So what? So I should just do it for free. Chen Yanyan didn't say anything more. She just cried. A few classmates passed by on the roadside. Seeing us talking, they slowed their pace, their eyes darting back and forth between us. I ignored them, adjusted my backpack on my shoulder, and turned to leave. Jiangyu, Chen Yanyan called out from behind. I didn't look back. When I got home, Mom was cooking in the kitchen. She was wearing a floral apron, her hair casually tied back, and a smile on her face. She's always like this, smiling at me no matter how busy or tired she is. You use back, go wash your hands. Mom made you pork rib soup. I changed my shoes and walked into the kitchen, hugging her from behind. Mom was startled by my sudden embrace, and the spatula in her hand almost fell into the pot. What's going on here? It's nothing, I just wanted to hug you. My mom chuckled and reached out to pat the back of my hand. All right, go wash your hands, the soup is almost ready. I let go of her and went to the bathroom to wash my hands, then sat down at the dining table. My dad came out of the study, holding a stack of documents, with reading glasses perched on his nose. Dad will take you to the exam center on the days of the college entrance examination. No need, Dad, I can go by myself. It's not far. How can that be? The college entrance examination is such a big event. Dad must take you. My dad put the documents on the table, took off his reading glasses, and looked at me with eyes full of doting. I looked at his face and thought of him with white hair in my previous life, and my eyes immediately turned red. What's wrong? My mom came out of the kitchen with soup and was startled by my expression. What's wrong? Nothing. I lowered my head and blinked hard. It's the chili that's making me cry. My mom glanced at the untouched dishes on the table, fell silent for a moment, and didn't expose me. During the meal, my dad brought up the hotel matter again. Are you sure your classmate doesn't need a room? The 2 days of the college entrance exam are definitely stressful. If they have to stay far away and can't rest well, it could affect their performance. I picked up a piece of spare ribs, put it in my mouth, and chewed slowly without answering right away. My dad is that kind of person, always thinking of others his whole life. Having run a hotel for over a decade, he has never once kicked out a guest for being unable to pay. One year, heavy snow blocked the roads, and hundreds of stranded travelers came down from the highway. While all the surrounding hotels raised their prices, ours kept the original rates and even provided free hot ginger soup and blankets. That incident later made the local news. When reporters came to interview him, my dad said to the camera, "It's tough being away from home. Such a good person, in his previous life, was pushed to a dead end by others. Dad, they'll arrange it themselves. You don't need to worry." My dad wanted to say something else, but my mom kicked him under the table. All right, if you says it's not necessary, then it's not necessary. Why are you worrying so much? My dad grimaced from the kick and obediently lowered his head to eat. I looked at them, feeling a pang of bitterness in my heart. In my previous life, I couldn't protect them. In this life, I'll take over. On the last day before the college entrance exam, I went to school to pick up my admission ticket. A few people were scattered sparsely in the classroom, all making their final struggles. Chen Yanyan wasn't there, Zhao Xiaoma wasn't there either. Only a few boys who usually didn't talk much were sleeping with their heads on their desks. I took my admission ticket and walked out. When I reached the doorway, I ran into Teacher Zhang. Jiangyu, don't rush to compare answers after the exam, get some good rest. Got it, thank you, Teacher Zhang. Also, don't pay attention to those idle gossip, just focus on your exams. I nodded and walked out of the teaching building. On the playground, some people were playing basketball, while others were lying on the grass, basking in the sun. Everything seemed so normal that it felt as if the events of my past life had never happened, but I know they happened. I remember every detail. On the day of the college entrance examination, my dad got up at 6 o'clock. He wore a red t-shirt, saying it was for good luck. My mom also wore a red dress and put a red envelope in my school bag. It contained 66 yuan, which she said meant everything goes smoothly. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but I didn't refuse. The exam hall was indeed very close to home, only a 5-minute walk away. My dad insisted on escorting me, and since I couldn't persuade him otherwise, I let him. The entrance to the examination hall was crowded with people, students, parents, teachers, police officers, and volunteers, a dense mass. Some were crying while holding their admission tickets, others were laughing while hugging their parents, some were cramming by flipping through notes, and some were taking deep breaths to adjust their state. I stood in the crowd and took a deep breath. Gaokao, I'm here. The first subject was Chinese. In my previous life, I scored 112 points, which wasn't bad but also not great. This time, I was fully prepared. The essay topic was inheritance. I wrote about the story of my family's hotel, about my father, a man who was kind to others all his life, and about the lessons he taught me. As I wrote the last word, my eyes grew a little warm. The second subject was math, which was my strong suit. In my previous life, I scored 135. This time, I came prepared, reviewing all the knowledge points and practicing countless times on all the error-prone questions. When I handed in my paper, I was confident, expecting at least 140. The third exam was English, and the fourth was liberal arts comprehensive. As I took each exam, I felt more and more steady and smooth. When the bell rang for the last exam, I put down my pen, leaned back in my chair, and let out a long sigh. It's over, the college entrance exams are over. When I walked out of the exam hall, the sun was so bright that I couldn't open my eyes. My dad was waiting for me at the school gate, holding a bouquet of flowers, his eyes squinting into slits from smiling. Yu, he waved at me. Excited like a child, I ran over, took the flowers, and gave him a big hug. How did you do on the exam? He asked. Pretty good, that's good, my dad said, patting my back. Come on, Dad will take you out for a big meal. My mom popped out from the side, also holding a bouquet of flowers. Seeing that I had already hugged my dad's flowers, she shot him a slightly displeased glance. You sure are fast. My dad chuckled twice. Not daring to speak, I smiled and took my mom's flowers, putting an arm around her on the left and one on the right, and the family of 3 walked towards where we parked. After walking only a few steps, I saw Chen Yanyan. She was standing at the entrance of the examination hall, surrounded by a few classmates, and her complexion wasn't good. Zhao Xiaoma was saying something next to her, and she shook her head, her eyes red, as if she had been crying. I didn't stop walking. Passing right by her, she saw me. The moment our eyes met, her expression changed. Her lips moved as if she wanted to say something. I didn't give her the chance. 3 days after the college entrance exam ended, the results haven't been released yet, but the internet is already buzzing. Posts about score estimates, answer comparisons, and complaints about the exam questions are flooding the web. I was curled up at home, scrolling through my phone, when I suddenly came across a post. The title read, "Whatever you do, don't stay at XX hotel during the 2 days of the college entrance exam. The noise is so loud you won't be able to sleep at all." I was stunned for a moment, clicked on it, and saw it was about my hotel. The poster's ID was unfamiliar, their avatar was a flower, and their registration date showed 3 days prior. The post read, I booked this hotel before my college entrance exams, but they were doing construction every night after 10 p.m., the sounds of drills and hammering continued until 2 or 3 in the morning. I called the front desk 3 times to complain, and each time they said they would handle it, but the noise never stopped. The night before my exams, I only slept for 3 hours, and my mind was completely foggy during the test the next day. Everyone, avoid this place, do not stay here. There were already several comments below the post. Oh my god, this is too much. Construction during the college entrance exam. I've heard of this hotel. Isn't it a 5-star one? Is this the service you get at a 5-star hotel? Poor OP. Having the college entrance exam disrupted like this, I'd cry myself to death if it were me. Complain. Call 12345 to report them. Hotels like this should be rectified. I stared at the screen, my fingers trembling slightly. In my previous life, the post Chen Yanyan made was also like this, saying she was staying at my family's hotel and couldn't sleep due to construction noise in the middle of the night, leading to poor performance on her exam the next day. That post initially only had a few comments, but later someone screenshotted it and posted it on Weibo, where it trended and then spiraled out of control. In this life, she wasn't staying at my family's hotel. All the rooms in my family's hotel were sold to strangers, and she was staying somewhere else, but the post still appeared. It's just that the poster changed their ID and identity. I took a deep breath and clicked on the poster's homepage. There was only one post, no other content, 0 people followed, 0 followers. And even the avatar was the default flower, a standard zombie account. I took a screenshot and sent the post link to my dad. Dad, someone is spreading rumors online that our hotel is under construction during the college entrance exam period. The phone was answered instantly, and my dad's voice sounded a bit tense. What? Let me see. After about a minute, my dad called. You, I read that post. It's complete nonsense. There was no construction near our hotel during the 2 days of the college entrance exam. Even the city government had halted all projects, so how could there have been any noise? I know it's fake. Dad, don't worry yet. Not many people have seen this post so far, but if we don't handle it, it could easily spread. I'll contact the lawyer right away and have them take care of it. Okay. After hanging up the phone, I refreshed the post again and found that there were already more than a dozen new comments. Someone started to question. I also stayed at this hotel during the college entrance exam, and I didn't hear any construction noise. Then someone immediately replied, are you a paid shill hired by the hotel? I've seen this kind of whitewashing tactic many times. Someone else said, even if there was no construction, posting this kind of content is disgusting enough. Spreading such rumors during the college entrance exam, aren't you afraid of retribution? I read through them one by one, growing calmer with each line. In my previous life, when I saw these comments, my whole body trembled, and I cried so hard I could barely catch my breath. I desperately wanted to rush through the screen and explain myself to every single person who criticized me. This life is different. This time, I know exactly what to do. I opened the class group chat. After the college entrance exam ended, the class group chat was as lively as a vegetable market, with hundreds or even thousands of messages every day. Some were planning graduation trips, some were discussing teacher appreciation banquets, some were sharing funny videos, and some were posting their estimated scores. I scrolled up and saw a message sent by Chen Yanyan. I'm so annoyed. I feel like I totally bombed the math exam. I couldn't figure out the last part of the big question at all. More than 10 people replied below to comfort her. I scrolled up further and found a message from the day before the college entrance exam. Zhao Xiaoma had posted, Yanyan, which hotel are you staying at? Is it far from the exam venue? Chen Yanyan replied, I'm staying at a homestay, about a 15-minute taxi ride from the exam venue. It's a bit far, but there's no other choice. All the nearby hotels are fully booked. Lu Yutong replied, it's all Jiang Yu's fault. Her family's hotel clearly had rooms available, but she didn't save any for us, making everyone scramble to find a place to stay. After this message was sent, no one responded. After a while, Zhao Xiaoma sent a sighing emoji. Then someone else said, forget it, we can't force them if they don't want to help. The tone was casual, but behind that casualness was an entitled complaint. I looked at these messages, and my heart remained unmoved. I exited the class group chat and opened Weibo. That post was indeed reposted on Weibo. The person who reposted it is a marketing account with a relatively small following, around 50 to 60,000. After the post was reposted, it was given a sensational headline, construction noise from a 5-star hotel disturbs residents during the college entrance exam period. Examinee complains to no avail and only sleeps 3 hours. The number of reposts has already exceeded 500, and the tone in the comments section is similar to that in the post, with everyone unanimously criticizing the hotel for being unscrupulous. I took a screenshot and saved it, then I sent a message to my dad. Dad, the post has been shared on Weibo, and the reposts have already exceeded 500. My dad replied instantly, I've already contacted a lawyer and am gathering evidence. Additionally, I've asked someone to check the surveillance footage near the area during the 2 days of the college entrance exam to see if any construction vehicles entered or exited. Are there any surveillance cameras? Yes, there are 2 cameras at the entrance of our hotel, facing both sides of the road. I've already had someone retrieve the footage from the 2 days before and the 2 days after the college entrance examination. It's very clear, with no construction whatsoever. I breathed a sigh of relief. Dad, don't rush to post it yet, let's wait for the lawyer's opinion. Okay. Over the next 2 days, the post's popularity continued to soar. More and more marketing accounts have started reposting the story, with increasingly exaggerated headlines. Some even directly wrote that the 5-star hotel is putting profit over the lives of exam candidates, and the readership easily surpassed 1 million. The comments section has been completely overrun. Out of tens of thousands of comments, 99% are criticizing our hotel. The Cultural and Tourism Bureau called my dad's phone, speaking in a very serious tone, saying they would come to investigate. The Housing and Urban Rural Development Bureau also called, saying they would come to measure the noise levels. Everything was exactly the same as in the previous life, but this time, what was different was that the guests staying at the hotel did not remain silent. During the 2 days of the college entrance examination, our hotel was full of strangers, including students taking the exam and their parents accompanying them. One of the students posted a long article on Weibo, titled, I am a student who stayed at that hotel during the college entrance examination, and I want to tell the truth. The long post read, I came from out of town to take the exam and booked this hotel a month in advance. During the 2 days of the college entrance exam, I stayed here and didn't hear any construction noise. The hotel service was excellent. The front desk lady knew I had an exam the next day and specially prepared a box of milk and 2 pieces of bread for me, saying it was a complimentary breakfast. I don't know who posted that, but I can responsibly say that I stayed here for 2 nights, slept well, and performed normally in the exam. Please don't ruin a good hotel's reputation without evidence. After this long post was published, the comments section exploded. Another paid shill. How much did you get paid? The hotel's shills are really everywhere. Registered for only 2 days. Clearly a newly created account. 5-star hotels are indeed wealthy, hiring paid commenters so professionally. That test taker was cursed at hundreds of times and angrily argued back in the comments section. I'm not a paid commenter, I'm just a guest who has stayed at this hotel, believe it or not. Then he was cursed at even more fiercely. I watched this farce, feeling an indescribable mix of emotions in my heart. In my previous life, not a single one of the 50 classmates staying at my family's hotel spoke up. In this life, a stranger staying at my family's hotel spoke up, only to be labeled as a paid troll. That's just how the internet is. People only believe what they want to believe. They needed a villain, a target for them to vent their anger. The person who posted the rumor gave them a target, and they shot all their arrows without hesitation. As for whether the target was truly bad, no one cared. The turning point occurred on an official account called Report on Construction Conditions Around the College Entrance Examination Venues. That's the official account of the Municipal Education Bureau. It doesn't update often and has only a few thousand followers, but on the 4th day after the college entrance exam, it posted a message regarding the recent online rumors about hotel construction causing disturbances during the college entrance exam. Our bureau has taken this matter very seriously. After verification, during the exam period, June 7th to 9th, we required all construction sites within a 2-kilometer radius of the exam venues to suspend operations. The hotel is located within the designated area, and no construction activities were found nearby. This is hereby announced. Once this announcement was released, the direction of public opinion began to shift. Someone started questioning the person who posted. The authorities have already stated there's no construction, so where did the noise mentioned in the post come from? Could it be a rumor? Oh my, spreading such a rumor during the college entrance exam period is just too malicious, isn't it? Can the original poster come out and explain? At Flower, the post is still there, but the poster never showed up again. I clicked in to take a look and found that the comments section of the post had been overrun, filled with people calling the OP a liar. Someone dug up the registration time and IP address of this ID, and found That it was registered on the day the college entrance examination ended, with the IP address showing it was in a certain residential area in a certain city. Someone traced the IP address and found that the residential area was far from the examination hall, making it impossible to stay near that hotel. More and more people began to question, and more people started to dig into it. Finally, someone uncovered the real identity behind that ID, not Chen Yinyan. I stared at this result. Stunned, not Chen Yinyan. I searched through all the posts, all the comments, all the reposts, but couldn't find Chen Yinyan's name. She didn't post, didn't comment, didn't like anything, nothing at all. It was as if she had vanished. On the day the college entrance exam results came out, I was at home eating watermelon. The results were released at 3 p.m., and I was already in front of the computer at 2:58. My heart pounding fast. In my previous life, I scored 561, just barely passing the first tier university admission line. This life is different for me. At exactly 3 o'clock, I refreshed the page. Total score, 643, Chinese 126, Math 141, English 138, Comprehensive Liberal Arts 238. I stared at the numbers on the screen for 5 seconds, then let out a scream. Mom, Dad, the results are out. My mom rushed out of the kitchen, her hands still wet, her apron covered in oil stains. My dad rushed out of the study, one of his slippers falling off in the process. What's the score? 643. My mom froze for a moment, then hugged me tightly and burst into tears. My dad stood beside me, his eyes red and his lips trembling for a moment before he finally managed to say, "Good, good, good." He said, "Good," 3 times, each one delivered with immense effort. I hugged my mom, and tears also fell from my eyes. In my previous life, I couldn't make them proud. In this life, I have. The class group chat exploded completely after the grades were released. Some were overjoyed, others were worried, with screenshots of various scores flying everywhere. Some posted scores of 680, while others barely scored over 400. Gao Xiaoma scored 532 and posted a crying emoji in the group. Lu Yutong scored 509, saying she'd be grateful just to get into a second-tier university. Li Siyuan scored 578, which he was quite satisfied with, and has already started researching his college application options. Wang Hao scored 541, sent us sighing in the chat, and then went silent. Lin Siki scored 498 and directly left the group chat. I scrolled for a long time but didn't see Chen Yinyan post her score. She didn't post anything, but someone mentioned her in the group chat. Nian Nian, how many points did you score? Yeah, Nian Nian, didn't you say you messed up the math exam before? How bad was it exactly? Come on, Nian Nian, say something. Chen Nian did not reply. After about 10 minutes, Zhao Xiao Mo sent a message in the group. I just called Nian, but she didn't answer. A few more minutes later, Lu Yutong said, I called too, and her phone is turned off. The group was quiet for a while, then someone started to guess, could she have really failed the exam? She said before that she didn't finish the last question in math, and she got several big problems wrong. That still wouldn't explain why her phone is off. What score did she get? No one knows. I want to know too. It's not because I care about her, but because I want to confirm something. In her previous life, Chen Yinyan scored 547, which wasn't particularly bad, but she told everyone she had failed, blaming the noise from my family's hotel. In this life, she didn't stay at my family's hotel, she stayed at a guest house, a 15-minute drive from the exam venue. What score did she get? If she failed, at least it would prove that it had nothing to do with where she lived, and that the problem was her own. I've been waiting 3 days for this answer. 3 days later, Chen Yinyan posted a message in the class group chat. I scored 478 points. The group chat was silent for a full 10 seconds, then it exploded. What? 478? Nian, no way, you usually score above 550 on mock exams. What happened? Did you misestimate your score? Do you want to apply for a review? 478 points, nearly 70 points lower than in my previous life. I stared at the number, a complex feeling welling up inside me. She really did poorly on the exam, without the noise from my house, without the construction disturbances, without any external factors. She still did poorly, but I no longer cared. I left the class group chat. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision, it's something I've been thinking about for a long time. I don't need to have any further contact with these people, they don't need my help, and I don't need their gratitude. We're even between us. Letting go feels more liberating than holding on. At night, as I lay in bed scrolling through my phone, I suddenly received a private message. It was from Zhao Xiaoma. Jiang Yu, why did you leave the group chat today? I didn't reply. After a while, she sent another message. I know you have issues with us, but we've all been in the same class for 3 years, isn't this a bit much? I still didn't reply. The third message followed closely. Are you upset about the hotel thing? We were just casually talking at the time, not really pressuring you or anything. I looked at this message and gave a slight tug at the corner of my mouth, just casually talking. You just casually say something, and my family's hotel gets reported and shut down. You just casually say something, and my parents' hair turns white overnight. You just casually say something, and my life gets ruined once. The phrase, just casually say something, is probably the most convenient excuse in the world. I typed a few words, then deleted them. Forget it, it's not necessary. I deleted Zhao Xiaomao's private message, put my phone on the nightstand, turned over, and closed my eyes. Tomorrow, I'm going to visit a university very, very far away, so far away that you can no longer see the faces of those people. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My sister and I both registered as bone marrow donors at the same time. After a successful match, she backed out and asked me to donate. The recipient was from the Su family, the wealthiest in the capital city. To express their gratitude, the Su family's only son married me, and I became the young mistress, admired by everyone in high society. To compete with me, my sister borrowed money and took out loans everywhere, spending recklessly and accumulating massive debt. Her husband eventually kicked her out. When we met again, she went mad, pushed me down the stairs, and accidentally fell herself. We both lost our lives. After being reborn, my younger sister took the lead in donating and successfully married into the Su family. On the wedding day, she raised her glass with a smug smile. Sister, I was born to be a young mistress, you can't envy that. I also raised my glass in return. Sister, being the young mistress of the Su family isn't easy. You must always maintain good health. Miss Mu, both of your bone marrow types have been successfully matched. I know you are sisters, so I called you here today to ask, which one of you will donate? My gaze slowly focused. The doctor in front of me was wearing a white coat, looking serious. The suffocating feeling of nearly drowning still lingered in my chest. I stumbled and fell to the ground. The familiar environment and the doctor's words made me understand. I've been reborn. My younger sister, Mu Xing, stepped forward and excitedly grabbed the doctor's arm. Doctor, look, my sister was so scared she fell. She's been like this since she was little. Talks a good game but backs down when it's time to act. I'm not afraid. I'll donate. My sister's unusual behavior made me instinctively look at her. She looked excited, her eyes red with emotion, showing no sign of fear, but she shouldn't be acting like this. In our previous life, we went together to the donation center for testing. After receiving the volunteer donation form, she excitedly posted pictures across all social media platforms, along with the caption, "Where the heart leads, the feet follow." With every bit of warmth, shine a little light. But when the doctor notified her that the match was successful and she could donate, she was so frightened that she hid in her mother's arms. I heard donating bone marrow is very painful, and I'm afraid of needles. I've always been in poor health, but my sister is healthier than me. Let her go instead. The day after I completed my donation, the Su family, the wealthiest in the city, came to my door with lavish gifts. It turned out that the recipient of my donation was Su Jingru, the most beloved daughter of the Su family. To show gratitude, Su Jingru's brother, Su Yanming, often came to visit me. After dating Su Yanming for a year, I married into the Su family. The Su family gifted my parents a house and a car, helped my sister secure a job at Su Corporation, and she also married a department manager who was being groomed for a key position at the company. As for me, I became the young mistress of the Su family, a young lady highly sought after in high society. At a banquet, she tearfully confided in me that her life wasn't going well, and if she had been the one to donate the bone marrow, she would have been the young mistress of the Su family. I told her that marrying into the Su family wasn't as wonderful as she imagined, but she thought I was just showing off. Perhaps my words stung her, and she began to compete with me. Whatever I ate, she had to eat. Whatever I wore, she had to buy. The department manager she married could afford occasional extravagances but not endless spending. To satisfy her vanity, she started taking out loans. Loan sharks came to their home, frightening her mother-in-law into a heart attack. It was only then that her husband learned she had accumulated $1 million in debt. In a fit of anger, her husband divorced her, seized all the luxury items, and threw her out of the house penniless. My parents called me out, hoping I could help my sister repay her loans. I explained that I was struggling myself and truly couldn't assist. When my sister heard I refused to help her, she immediately went crazy. She pushed me down the stairs to my death, but lost her balance and fell down herself. Opening my eyes again, I watched my sister obediently follow the doctor for testing. During the examination, she showed no pain, only barely concealed joy. Before entering the operating room, we watched her at the door of the sterile ward. She smiled and said something to me before being wheeled into the operating room by the doctor. My parents were still guessing what she had said, but I understood her lip movements. She said, "In this lifetime, I'll let you taste the feeling of jealousy too." I should have guessed the moment I was reborn. My sister had been reborn as well. She wants to steal the life I had in my past life to become the young mistress of the Sue family. If that's all there is to it, then I wish her success. The day after being discharged from the hospital, my sister got up early, put on her makeup, and waited for the Sue family to arrive. Since we exposed the truth about the rebirth, we no longer bother pretending to have a fake sisterly bond. I was eating breakfast when she passed by and gave me a disdainful look. "I just got out of the hospital and my body is still weak. You should stay in your room today and not come out, so you don't pass your germs to me." I immediately put down my spoon and headed to my room, not wanting to finish the rest of my food. My sister followed behind me, strutting proudly. "You're quite sensible, knowing you can't afford to provoke me, so you hide away and be a quiet dog. If I'm in a good mood, I might even introduce you to the Sue family, so you can marry into a good household, but you're not worthy of a department manager. At most, you could marry a security guard. Marrying a Sue family security guard would still be a step up for you." I closed the door behind me, shutting her arrogant face out. Just like in the previous life, the Sue family arrived with lavish gifts. Having been poor for half their lives, my parents were overjoyed at the sight of these gifts. Unable to hide their delight, the Sue family was the wealthiest in the capital, and Su Yenming was their only son. Everyone understood the principle of relying on a powerful backer for support. My parents warmly welcomed Su Yenming, and my sister, who had just donated bone marrow and was still weak, came out of her room to greet him as well. My sister had applied light makeup, carefully trimmed her eyebrows, and used foundation to cover the small imperfections on her face. She was already frail and sickly, with a pair of large, watery eyes on her pale face that made her look pitiful. Under our parents' arrangements, my sister sat on the sofa in a pure white lace nightgown, gently and softly chatting with Su Yenming. I hid in the room, too afraid to come out. I only opened the door a tiny crack, took a quick peek, and then quickly locked it again, because just seeing Su Yenming's face makes me tremble uncontrollably, a physical reaction. In my past life, Su Yenming received the same treatment when he came to my house, but I was resting in bed and didn't have much contact with him. Later, he came to see me again and again. He sent flowers and gifts, showing great concern for my health, and I gradually fell into the Cinderella and Prince Charming dream he wove. After falling in love, he was gentle, considerate, calm, and self-possessed, never behaving impolitely toward me. In my freshman year, I had never been in a relationship before, and I thought his aloofness was due to his personality and good upbringing. I even felt fortunate that my first love was a man like Su Yenming. After that grand proposal, I married him, filled with all the beautiful expectations for life. I thought I had met the right person and married for love. Little did I know that marrying into the Su family would be the beginning of my life's nightmare. The sound of my parents seeing off the guests outside pulled me back to my thoughts. I opened the door to find my parents unpacking the gifts Su Yenming had brought, carefully assessing their value, while my sister had already gone back to her room to rest. I thought for a long time in the room. Su Yenming has ulterior motives. If my sister marries into their family, our two families will become relatives, and I cannot guarantee my own safety. I went to her room and closed the door. Mu Xing, the Su family is not a kind-hearted family. You'd better not associate with Su Yenming. Do you really think Su Yenming would ever look at a girl from a family like ours? He only married me because, before I could finish speaking, my sister raised her hand and slapped me across the face. Mu Yu, can't you stand to see me doing well, or are you jealous that I've become the Su family's benefactor, so you're here to sow discord? I sneered coldly, intensifying the tone of my voice. Hospitals protect privacy. Donors and recipients cannot contact each other to prevent situations like secondary donations or organ trafficking. The Su family is rushing to find you like this. Aren't you afraid? My sister flung the cotton pad fiercely at my face. Mu Yu, I think you're getting anxious. Since we were kids, you've always been better than me at everything. Better grades, taller, better figure, proud as a peacock, always wanting to be first in everything. you're afraid Su Yenming will fall in love with me, you're jealous. Afraid I'll become the young mistress of the Su family and then trample you underfoot, what, not satisfied with being the Su family's young mistress, want to keep going, put away that arrogant look of yours, the thought of your hypocritical face after you made it big in your last life makes me sick. My sister looked deranged, as if someone had snatched away her most precious treasure. I shook my head, she was beyond saving. Mu Xing, this is my final piece of advice to you as your older sister. I won't stop you from becoming a young mistress, but I hope you won't regret it later. My sister raised her head, her face full of stubbornness. Muyue, when I make it big, I hope you won't come begging me either. As my sophomore year studies got on track, I studied with all my might. In my previous life, I dropped out of college during my sophomore year to marry Su Yenming. I had wanted to continue my studies, but Su Yenming said my major was unrelated to the Su family's business and would be useless. Su Yenming donated 2 buildings and some laboratory equipment to the school, and through a special approval from the university, I received my diploma. On the day I went to complete the graduation procedures, my major advisor tried to stop me from signing. Mu Yu, your academic performance is outstanding. The teacher hopes you can continue with your master's and doctoral studies. The school also needs talents like you. I gently pushed aside the teacher's blocking hand and confidently said to her, Teacher, the Su family has already paved the way for me. Yenming loves me very much, and I don't want to make him unhappy. The teacher's eyes were filled with disappointment. A woman must have her own career to stand firm in this society. This is true for ordinary families, and as a daughter-in-law of the Su family, one should hold oneself to even higher standards. Yet I was lost in the illusory world Su Yenming had created for me, completely forgetting the warnings of others. Only now do I realize how precious and insightful every word my teacher said back then truly was. I attended every class without fail, absorbing knowledge like a sponge soaking up water. Yet Mu Xing is immersed in love. I haven't seen her at school for half a month. In the early morning, while jogging and reciting English words, I heard a familiar voice calling my name, Mu Yu. I stopped in my tracks and instinctively turned around. Su Yenming was smiling and waving at me. Seeing the person approaching, that immense sense of suffocation enveloped me. Images from my past life kept flashing through my mind. In the dimly lit room, I was chained up, and Su Yenming, dressed in a suit, walked over and grabbed my neck. Mu Yu, why won't you listen to me? Why don't you take better care of your own body? A hand waved in front of my eyes. Muyue, what's wrong with you? I snapped back to reality, gasping for breath. Su Yenming stood before me with a gentle smile. You're Muyue, right? Muxing's older sister. I should have run, but the fear from my past life made my feet refuse to obey. I told myself that I had been reborn, that I wouldn't have to go through those things from my previous life again, and forced myself to stay calm. Yes, I am Mu Yu. May I ask what Mr. Su needs? Su Yenming narrowed his eyes slightly, looking me up and down. Why didn't I see you when I visited your home last time? There was no hint of affection in his gaze. He wasn't looking at me as a woman, but rather as if I were a commodity. Your body is in good health. I clenched my fists and scolded him sharply. What do you mean? Of course, I knew what he meant, but I had to be firm. He smiled. I mean no offense, I'm just curious. Mu Xing said you two are twins. I've heard that among twins, one is always a bit weaker while the other is stronger. It seems the stronger one is you. I cut him off. Mr. Su, if there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. I still have a class to attend. Just as I was about to leave, I saw Mu Xing running over from a distance. She flew into Su Yenming's arms like a little bird. Yenming, you came to pick me up. The paperwork is all done, let's go. Su Yenming affectionately patted her head, subtly pulling his arm out from her embrace. Remember in my past life, I also hugged Su Yenming with such joy and excitement. On the surface, he showed no change at all, stiff as a block of wood. After parting ways, I suddenly remembered I had forgotten to give him something. Chasing after him to the school gate, I saw him take off his suit jacket and hand it to his bodyguard. His eyes were filled with disgust. Take it away and burn it. Then he opened a bottle of mineral water and frantically washed his hands until they turned bright red before stopping. At the time, I thought he had gotten something dirty on his hands. Now it seems that the dirty thing was me. Su Yenming pointed at me. Mu Xing, I heard your sister's match was also successful. You can invite her over to play more often in the future. My sister's face instantly fell. She glared at me fiercely, tightening her grip on Su Yenming's arm once more, clearly asserting her claim. Sister, you haven't been home in a long time, so you probably don't know yet. Yenming proposed to me, and his parents are very satisfied with me. We're currently discussing the wedding arrangements. I forced a faint smile. Congratulations. After declaring her sovereignty, my sister took Su Yenming by the hand and turned to leave. As they walked away, she spoke in a coquettish tone. Yenming, I think we should stop associating with my sister. She's a refined egoist, incredibly arrogant. She was indeed a match, but when the doctor asked her to donate, she was so scared she fell down. She had no intention of donating at all. I was the one who stepped forward to donate. My bravery brought us together. The sound of their voices gradually faded into the distance, and the two figures grew smaller and smaller as they walked away. Just before their figures vanished completely, I faintly sensed that Su Yenming glanced back at me. That glance from Su Yenming gave me nightmares for a whole week. Every night, I found myself in that dark room, weighed down by heavy iron chains that left me unable to move. Every day, I have to take various nutritional supplements, and even when I have no appetite, I am forced to eat 5 meals a day. After waking up, I found that I had completely lost interest in food, and anxiety had taken over my body. This won't do. The Su family holds great power and influence. If they set their sights on me, I won't be able to escape at all. I gave up my major courses and started studying law day and night. During the day, I attended large lectures at the law school, and at night, I taught myself by searching for materials online. I also started a self-media account, focusing on the persona of a beginner learning how to switch majors to law. I went live on camera every day, set study plans, and studied together with the people in the live stream. My sister is preparing for a grand wedding, while I successfully changed my major during the transfer exam in my junior year. I finally became a student in the law school. I share legal knowledge on my self-media account, offering 2 hours of free consultation via live streaming every day, and quickly became a blogger with millions of followers. At my sister's wedding, relatives and friends all came to witness the ceremony. The aunts and uncles spared no effort in praising my parents. You're truly blessed to have twins, and both sisters are so accomplished. Mu Yu is now a major internet celebrity. She speaks up for women, offers free legal consultations, has received official commendations, and even made it into the newspapers. Mu Xing is even more remarkable. She married the wealthiest man in the capital and became a wealthy socialite. You too can enjoy the rest of your lives in comfort. My parents, basking in everyone's flattery, had flushed faces and couldn't have been happier. Dad even waved his hand grandly. Ah, I've loved them both since they were little. As long as they're happy, we don't ask for anything in return. I silently took a sip of water while sitting at the dining table. Love, happy. In my previous life, I found an opportunity to escape. When I returned home, I begged my parents to save me and asked them to help me call the police. My parents agreed to me verbally, but behind my back, they slipped sleeping pills into my food and sent me back to the Su family. I asked them why they did this. My mother avoided eye contact, yet her voice was full of conviction. Our family's big villa was given by the Su family, and they promised to arrange a job for your sister after she graduates. For your sister, for this family, even if you have to endure some grievances, you must bear it. Because of this escape, I was locked in a dark room, completely plunged into darkness. In my previous life, for my sister's sake, they told me to endure. If my sister had cried out to them for help, would they have told her to endure as well? After the ceremony, my sister came over with a wine glass to propose a toast. Everyone was uttering auspicious words, and she merely nodded in agreement. When it came to me, however, she raised her wine glass, her face beaming with pride. Sister, I was born to be a young mistress. You can't envy that. She leaned close to my ear, lowering her voice. Even if Yenming invites you to come over to our house, you are not allowed to come. Don't try to get anything from the Su family. Su Yenming is mine, and everything in the Su family belongs to me. To others, it looked like we sisters were embracing. Everyone was marveling at the deep bond between us sisters. I raised my glass and offered my most sincere wishes. Sister, being the young mistress of the Su family isn't easy. You must always stay healthy. Okay. My sister looked puzzled, not understanding why I was telling her to stay healthy, but it didn't matter. She would soon find out. Being the young mistress of the Su family is not an easy role to play. The joy brought by the wedding banquet lasts only a moment. The days and nights to come will be spent in torment. The wedding banquet was grand, and many relatives of the Su family attended. Su Jingru, as the groom's sister, naturally attended this grand ceremony. She wore a custom-made white gauze dress, her delicate face carrying a sorrowful beauty. I smiled at my sister and gestured for her to look toward a corner of the banquet hall. There, Su Yenming, usually aloof and reserved, was holding Su Jingru, his face filled with worry and his eyes brimming with deep affection, but my sister paid it no mind. They are biological siblings, don't use your dirty thoughts to speculate about their relationship. Jingru is the youngest daughter of the Su family, she has poor health, so everyone dotes on her. Yanming said that his relationship with Su Jingru is different from mine, and he told me not to overthink it. I raised the corner of my mouth. Yes, her feelings for Su Jingru are indeed different from yours. My sister frowned. What do you mean? Before I could say anything, a waiter from the banquet approached. Miss Mu, the young master is asking for you. My sister instinctively glanced towards Su Yanming. The tenderness in Su Yanming's eyes had vanished, replaced by a dark, sullen expression. My sister cleared her throat and shot a disdainful look at the waiter. Yanming and I are already married. From now on, don't call me Miss Mu. Call me young mistress. She lifted her large skirt and made her way through the bustling crowd towards Su Yanming. I followed behind, waiting to see the first big scene unfold. My sister had just run up to Su Yanming, but before she could jump into his arms, she was met with a slap from him. Who told you to give Jingru alcohol? Are you out of your mind? Mu Xing covered her face, her eyes filled with disbelief. Honey, what are you talking about? When did I give Jingru any alcohol? Mother, who had been greeting guests at the door, walked straight over upon hearing the commotion. However, instead of standing up for Mu Xing, she went to Su Jingru's side. Miss Jingru, are you all right? My Muxing didn't mean to. She turned and pulled Muxing in front of Su Jingru. Hurry up, apologize to Miss Jingru. Muxing was completely stunned, tears welling up in her eyes, unable to believe it. Mom, why should I apologize? On my wedding day, what's wrong with her? As my sister-in-law, offering me a toast as the bride. Then she turned to explain to Su Yanming. Honey, I really didn't know she couldn't drink. If she didn't want to, she could have told me. I didn't force her. Enough. Su Yanming interrupted Mu Xing's words. Mu Xing, I'm telling you, stay away from Jingru from now on. If I see you near her again, I'll... Before Su Yanming could finish his sentence, Su Jingru hid in his arms. Brother, don't get angry with my sister-in-law because of me. Today is your big day. The most important day of your life. Su Yanming lifted Su Jingru into his arms, his careful manner and pained gaze as if he were holding a fragile porcelain doll, but that look was reserved only for Su Jingru. When his gaze shifted to Mu Xing, it instantly turned into disgust and contempt. Who cares about some grand occasion? Let's go. The hall was filled with guests, and under the watchful eyes of everyone, Su Yanming carried Su Jingru away, leaving behind Mu Xing with her cheeks swollen and red from the slap. How could those in high society care about the feelings of a nobody from the lower class? They completely disregarded Mu Xing's dignity, openly discussing the incident of her being slapped right beside her. Yanming dotes on Jingru the most. She's the sister he raised from childhood. Su Jingru is a genuine young lady from a wealthy family. A pheasant flying up a branch thinks it can step on a phoenix's head. How laughable. I always said we shouldn't marry someone of such lowly status. She's foolish and doesn't even know how to work hard. Since she wants to establish herself in the Su family, she doesn't even bother to learn about the Su family's affairs or cater to their preferences. She deserves to be beaten. Mu Xing was scolded mercilessly, with both her mother and father trying to console her. You were in the wrong in this matter. Just bear with it. Today is your big day. You've never been clever since you were little, and you haven't improved at all as you've grown up. Go apologize to your husband and your sister-in-law later, and while you're at it, help me ask about the job. I grew up with Mu Xing, so I understand exactly how she feels right now. She just wants to vent her anger, but she's afraid the Su family will reject her, so she has to hold it in. Everyone at the banquet was humiliating her, and she could only listen because each person's status was higher than hers. She didn't dare act recklessly. I stood at the outermost edge of the crowd, raising my champagne glass in a toast to her as Mu Xing's gaze met mine. My dear sister, this is the life of a high society young mistress. Even if your teeth are knocked out, you must swallow them along with the blood. Since Mu Xing got married, my parents' standard of living has risen to a new level. They are passionate about traveling, flaunting their affluent lifestyle on various social media platforms. With a second daughter who needs to be pampered and a son-in-law who requires constant appeasement, I, the eldest daughter who deliberately distanced myself, have been completely forgotten by them. My parents once tried to tempt me with high-value gifts, urging me to join them in currying favor with Su Yanming, but I firmly and harshly refused. Since then, they have viewed me with even greater disdain and have not contacted me for several months. But as time went on, my unease grew deeper, and I tried every possible way to save myself. I started streaming frequently, even pushing through the exhaustion of my studies to broadcast daily. While helping many women, I also gradually built up a following. I often joked that I might face retaliation, and my followers would respond that if I ever stopped streaming, it would likely mean something had happened to me, and they would call the police on my behalf. I used the money I had saved over the years and the tips from my live stream to buy a house with a basement. I renovated the basement into a sturdy fortress and bought a 5A grade steel door. The installer even joked with me, asking if I had read too many apocalyptic novels. He patted his chest and assured me that even if zombies really came, this door would be incredibly strong, but only I know that some people are more terrifying than zombies. That day, I was live streaming in the dorm as usual when my mother suddenly called. She said she missed me and wanted to come to the dorm to see me, asking if I was there. I was in the middle of streaming, so I casually said yes and hung up the phone. After hanging up, I instinctively got goosebumps. My parents haven't contacted me for almost half a year. Why do they suddenly want to visit me? With a bad feeling, I took a sick leave from school and, without even having time to pack my luggage, quickly hid in the safe fortress I had built myself. Almost as soon as I locked the basement door, Mu Xing's call came through. On the phone, Mu Xing's voice was gentle. "Sis, I came to see you. Why aren't you in the dorm? When will you be back?" Hearing Mu Xing's voice, I got goosebumps all over my arms. It had been years since she last called me sis, let alone actively came to the dorm to find me. I casually made up an excuse. "I'm on a business trip with my mentor and don't know when I'll be back. There's no sisterly bond between us, so you don't need to look for me anymore." Just as I was about to hang up, Mu Xing's scream came through from the other end. "Mu, you bitch, why didn't you tell me? You pushed me into the fire. May you die a horrible death. Please, I beg you." The hospital regulations require 6 months before another bone marrow extraction. It's only been 2 months since my last one. Another extraction could kill me. Please let me go. Just let me go. I will find Mu Yu. I will find her. Beep, beep. The phone call was hung up on the other end, and my phone also fell to the ground. It's starting again. What kind of love between a prince and Cinderella is there? Everything is just premeditated. In my previous life, when I married Su Yenming, I also thought I was the lucky one chosen by heaven. After getting married, Su Yenming was no longer as attentive as before. I tried to please him, hoping to restore our relationship to what it once was, but all my efforts were met with nothing but indifference. It was only later that I gradually noticed the changes in Su Yenming. She has no time to eat with me, yet she has time to watch the aurora and soak in hot springs with Su Jingru. The food I cook makes him lose his appetite at a glance, yet he can eat Su Jingru's burnt cookies without batting an eye. Every night, he goes downstairs to coax Su Jingru to sleep, using the excuse that she is in poor health and needs him to stay in the next room to watch over her. But several times, I've found him coming out of Su Jingru's room in his pajamas, only to change and go straight to work. Out of a woman's jealousy, I finally couldn't stand it and went to drop hints to Su Jingru. I told her that siblings should have boundaries, especially when the brother is already married. Su Jingru didn't say anything, just kept crying until she fainted from exhaustion. After that, I donated bone marrow to Su Jingru for the second time. That's when I realized Su Yenming never loved me. She married me and supported me just so I could donate bone marrow to Su Jingru whenever needed. I wanted a divorce, but he threatened my parents and even chained me in a room, leaving me with no one to turn to. I started a hunger strike, and Su Yenming flew into a rage. He grabbed my hair and kept slapping my face with the sole of his shoe. "How dare you go on a hunger strike? Your body isn't yours. You're just Jingru's bone marrow storage container. If you don't eat properly, I'll have someone kill your parents and your sister." Since childhood, my parents have loved me more than my sister. Out of gratitude to my parents and guilt toward my sister, I didn't dare resist and endured all the torment. They gave me nutrient injections, force-fed me like a duck, and conducted weekly health checkups. If any indicator showed a problem, it would earn me a severe beating from Su Yenming. Afraid of injuring me elsewhere, he wouldn't hit any other part of my body, only my face, with his leather shoe. It was painful and humiliating. 6 months later, the third extraction took place, and after another 2 months, the fourth followed. Su Jingru's condition was getting worse and worse, and I almost died from excessive donation. In my memory, Su Jingru didn't get sick this quickly. Could it be that Mu Xing discovered their relationship earlier? I took a long leave from school, announced a hiatus on social media, and even turned off my phone, completely cutting off contact with the outside world. After hiding underground for half a year like this, I had already memorized those basic legal provisions by heart. During these 6 months, I had no social life, no communication. If it weren't for reading aloud every day, I might have forgotten how to speak. I suddenly realized this couldn't go on. Before the Su family could track me down, I would drive myself insane. If the onset time and frequency continued like this, Su Jingru wouldn't last much longer. If Mu Xing really died, the Su family would never let me off. I promote legal education every day, hoping that persecuted women can bravely stand up to protect themselves and stand openly in the sunlight. Yet I hide in this sunless underground, living like a rat. I must find a way to save myself. I must make myself come back to life. So I walked out of the basement, set everything up, and then turned on my phone. 3 days later, I received another call from Muxing. She said she wanted to talk to me, so I sent her my home address. Even though I knew what would happen if I married Su Yenming, I was still startled by Muxing's current appearance when I saw her again. Muxing no longer had the graceful figure of a young girl. She looked as if she had gained 40 pounds. She looked haggard, her face pale, and she appeared utterly frail. As soon as she entered, she spoke. "Mu Yu, you've really done me in. Why didn't you tell me about all of this? Or are you doing it on purpose, to get back at me, deliberately watching me suffer?" I turned around, confirming once again that the basement door was open, and I could hide inside at any time. Then I walked over to Mu Xing, looking for an opportunity. "Mu Xing, I told you long ago that a family like the Su family would never look twice at ordinary girls like us. Being a wealthy socialite isn't that easy. Did you have a fight with Su Yenming?" Mu Xing's face was filled with hatred. "Stop pretending, you know it, don't you? Su Yenming doesn't love anyone at all, he only loves Su Jingru." I pretended to look surprised. "What is it? Su Jingru is his own sister, what they're doing is incest." Mu Xing was taken aback for a moment, then burst out laughing. "You didn't know, you actually didn't know, ha 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 ha." Laughing and laughing, Mu Xing began to cry bitterly. Su Jingru is an adopted child in their family. The two of them are genuinely in love. They were originally going to get married, but Su Jingru suddenly fell ill and just happened to match my bone marrow. Through official medical channels, you can only donate once every 6 months. The Su family can't frequently demand donations, so they can only marry me into their home, secretly imprison me, and extract my bone marrow for Su Jingru to use. Thinking of the experiences from my past life, my whole body trembled. Beating and imprisonment are illegal. You can report it to the police, and I'll be your defense lawyer. Mu Xing's face turned pale, and with a thud, he knelt on the ground. "Sister, I beg you, please save me." Got a chance, I rushed over and hugged her, taking the opportunity to toss a tube of lipstick into Mu Xing's handbag. "What are you doing? Get up quickly." Mu Xing couldn't stand up, kneeling on the ground and crying. "They kept feeding me 5 meals a day, and if I dared to vomit, they would beat me." I secretly ran back to my parents' house, but they couldn't bear to give up their wealth and glory. They actually gave me water laced with sleeping pills and sent me back. "Sister, the Su family has money and power. We commoners can't fight against them. We are siblings after all. Can you bear to watch me die from having my bone marrow extracted? Besides, if I die, the Su family's next target will be you. My today will be your tomorrow." I let go of Mu Xing and took 2 steps back to keep my distance from her. What should I do? A brilliant light shone in Mu Xing's eyes. "Su Jingru is in poor health and now requires a bone marrow supplement once a month. I've looked it up. The hospital recommends 6 months as the optimal donation period. Actually, after hematopoietic stem cells are extracted, they can regenerate within 1 to 2 weeks. We'll take turns drawing lots. You draw once, then I draw once, so that means each of us gets a month off. The Su family has professional nutritionists and doctors, so there's no need to worry about health issues. They will recover quickly." Looking at Mu Xing's frail body, I couldn't possibly believe her nonsense, yet she kept on talking to herself. "The Su family can give us endless money, we can buy whatever we want. You love being in the spotlight so much and enjoy live streaming. Su Yenming can set up an entertainment company for you, make you a star, and invest in you. You can be as famous as you want." I shook my head and stepped back, 1 step at a time. "Mu Xing, what you're saying is utterly absurd. Do you realize that what the Su family has done is immoral and is challenging the bottom line of the law? Having money means you can do as you please, but you cannot act lawlessly. If we encourage this kind of unhealthy trend, then there will be no law to speak of in this society. Women already face enough difficulties in life. If everyone bows down to money, leading to the emergence of a black industry chain, how many more women will suffer?" Persecution, we are human beings, not domesticated pets, not blood bags. We must live safely and with dignity. Your request is too outrageous. I can't do it. The only thing I can do to help you is to call the police. The slightly ajar door creaked open. Su Yenming, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, appeared at the doorway. His eyes gleamed coldly, his lips thin, as if the word heartless were carved on his face. Mu Xing, I gave you a chance, but you failed to convince your sister. He looked up at me again. Mu Yu, I gave you a chance too, but you didn't cherish it. With a wave of his hand, over a dozen burly men walked in from outside. Grab that woman, she's perfectly healthy, her bone marrow can be used directly. Seeing several people rushing over, I dashed downstairs and in a few steps, I rushed into the basement and locked the door. Outside, they hacked and chopped with knives and axes, but the door showed no reaction at all. I knelt on the ground, relieved that the door seller hadn't lied to me. Outside the door, Su Yenming was cursing. Mu Yu, don't even think about calling the police. I've already installed a signal jammer near your house, so your phone won't work. The lock expert is on the way. Even if you hide inside, I can still get the door open. If you come out now, I can give you a chance to atone. As long as you agree to let me extract your bone marrow properly, I won't lock you up. How about it? Having lived 2 lives, I wouldn't believe a single word Su Yenming says. Seeing that I remained silent, Su Yenming, furious and flustered, led the others up to the first floor. Su Yenming's curses and Mu Xing's screams echoed through the air. You useless thing, you've already gotten so fat, yet your physical data still doesn't meet the standards. You can't even donate stem cells to Su Jingru. What good are you, you useless piece of trash, you good for nothing. If Jingru has any problems, I'll make your whole family pay with their lives. Then, the sound of leather shoes striking flesh echoed, slap, slap, through the empty room. At first, Mu Xing was still screaming in agony, but after about 10 minutes, she fell silent. After that, Su Yenming ran to the basement like a madman and started kicking the iron door. Mu Xing is unconscious. If you open the door, I'll take her to the hospital. Aren't you a lawyer? Refusing to save someone in a life-threatening situation counts as intentional homicide. As soon as he finished speaking, the sound of the door being broken open rang out. Don't move, police, hands up, Su Yenming asked the person next to him. Didn't you install the most advanced model jammer? How could she still make a call? Before he could finish speaking, the police rushed over and took Su Yenming and several bodyguards away. Once I was sure it was safe, I opened the basement door and was escorted outside by the police. As I walked into the living room, I saw medical staff performing CPR on Mu Xing. Her face was already swollen and battered, covered in so much blood that she was almost unrecognizable. Several doctors shook their heads and covered her body with a white cloth. At the police station, after giving my statement, I saw Su Yenming standing boldly outside the window of the interrogation room, smiling at me. I grabbed the female officer taking my statement and screamed frantically, "Why is he here? How is he okay?" The female police officer gritted her teeth. Looking utterly helpless, the opposing lawyer presented a report claiming the other party has mental health issues and requested bail. I shook my head frantically. He doesn't have mental health issues, he's perfectly normal. He's lying. The policewoman comforted me. He can't hurt you anymore. You have to trust us, trust the law. A month later, I was escorted by the police to the courthouse. On the eve of the trial, I saw my parents. My mother approached and slapped me hard across the face. It's all because of you, you troublemaker. If you had agreed to donate bone marrow to Miss Jingru, Muxing would never have died. If Muxing hadn't died, our lives wouldn't have turned out like this. You offended the Su family, and they took back the house and car they gave us. Those luxury stores claimed the gold cards the Su family gave us were forged, and now they're suing us to repay the money. Your father and I are in debt for 10 million yuan. Hurry up and apologize to the Su family, then donate bone marrow to Miss Jingru, and marry into the Su family in place of Muxing. I rubbed my stinging cheek and thought for a moment. This slap wasn't even 1/10,000th as painful as the one Su Yenming gave me in my past life. Parents who've pushed me away in both lifetimes. I'm better off without them. I looked at them and said calmly, Mu Xing has already been tortured to death by Su Yenming. Are you planning to let me be tortured to death too, after both daughters are dead? Will you have another one to send to them for torture? What you should do now is to become witnesses, accuse Su Yenming, and seek justice for Mu Xing. If you won't help, then forget it. Just consider both your daughters dead. With that said, I entered the courtroom with my defense attorney. The Su family hired the best lawyer in the industry to fight this case. and they firmly denied the accusations regarding Mu Xing's death. They were sisters who turned on each other. Mu Xing was killed by Mu Yu. Mu Yu had a crush on me, but I fell in love with Mu Xing. Not only did she encourage my sister to sow discord in our relationship at my wedding, but she also repeatedly tried to seduce me. Mu Xing went to find Mu Yu, hoping to ease the tension between the sisters, but Mu Yu, consumed by jealousy, ended up killing Mu Xing. He also fabricated a lot of evidence, intending to frame me. My defense lawyer produced a USB drive. Your Honor, I have a piece of evidence here that I request to be played in court. The moment the video from the USB drive started playing, Su Yanming and his entire legal team were stunned, their eyes wide with shock. In the video, Mu Xing accused me of harming her, while I spoke of how I had once advised her not to marry into a wealthy family. Mu Xing tearfully revealed the inappropriate relationship between Su Yanming and Su Jingru, and then cried about how Su Yanming had imprisoned her, beaten her, and forcibly extracted her bone marrow against her will. Then, Su Yanming appeared at my home, uttering threatening words to me. Finally, Su Yanming slapped Mu Xing hard with the sole of his shoe. In the footage, Mu Xing had already lost vital signs, but Su Yanming continued to assault him with the shoe. It wasn't until the police broke down the door and the doctor's efforts to save him proved futile. I stood up and began to speak slowly. The perspective of this surveillance footage is my living room. Before I could finish, Su Yanming shouted frantically, "It's fake. This is AI generated." I replied, "This is not just a video, but a recorded live stream from the broadcast room, with all my fans as witnesses." The opposing lawyer stood up. "We have verified that on the day of the incident, Mu Yu's account had no live streaming information." I took out my phone to show it. "I'm not streaming on a website, but on a conference-specific software. The most useful feature of this software is meeting recording and playback, with all data stored on third-party servers. If the defendant has any objections, it can be verified in court." Su Yanming, you were puzzled at the time about why I could still call the police despite using a signal jammer. It's because I didn't call the police at all. It was the cyber police detecting your illegal activity and automatically alerting them. Su Yanming had already tried blocking signals in his previous life, but I am no longer the Mu Yu from that past life. The first thing I did after coming out of the basement was to have someone relay the network cables and install cameras on the walls. Ordinary cameras connect via Wi-Fi, but all of my cameras are connected via network cables, completely unaffected by signal jammers. By live streaming on the conference software, I can verify the authenticity of the video at any time, leaving no room for the other party to slander me. Additionally, I want to say, stop using mental health issues to evade responsibility. The video clearly shows that the defendant, Su Yanming, was lucid and coherent. Deliberate murder is deliberate murder. A lawsuit dragged on for half a year, with the defendant Su Yanming attempting to use mental illness as a defense. While awaiting the verdict, the Su family once again pressured me to drop the lawsuit. Not only did I refuse to withdraw the lawsuit, but I also blurred the surveillance footage from my home and had a third party posted online. The exposure of Su Yanming and Su Jingru's illicit affair, along with their coercion of the victim into donating bone marrow under the pretext of marriage, caused a huge uproar in society. The Su family's stock plummeted to its lowest value overnight, and competitors seized the opportunity to pour fuel on the fire, exposing their market manipulation, regulatory violations, and other commercial illegal activities. The Su family was too busy dealing with their own troubles to have any time to threaten me. With the pressure from the Su family gone, someone online came forward with a real name expose. Her daughter was also deceived by Su Yanming in the same way, leading to her death. One piece of evidence after another was submitted, and Su Yanming was sentenced to death in the first trial. On the day of the verdict, I saw Su Yanming. In his previous life, he was always impeccably dressed in a suit, without a single wrinkle on his clothes, but now, he was wearing prison clothes, with shackles on his hands and feet, clanking as he walked. Seeing him so disheveled and unkempt left me momentarily dazed, and I couldn't help but wonder if the Su family had found a stand-in. It wasn't until Su Yanming's eyes caught sight of me that he instantly transformed into a frenzied lion, baring his claws and teeth at me. "Mu Yu, you despicable woman, why didn't you just obediently donate your bone marrow?" "Why, my Jingru is dead." "Jingru is dead?" I looked at him coldly. "Do you know, every day people die because they can't find a suitable bone marrow match." Su Jingru was adopted by the Su family. The Su family's money allowed her to enjoy the best medical conditions and the highest priority for bone marrow matching, which was already a great fortune. Everyone has their own fate. forcing someone else's life to extend hers goes against the laws of nature and violates human ethics. I still say the same thing, the rich can do as they please, but they cannot act without regard for the law. Su Yenming collapsed to the ground, weeping. I love her, I want to keep her, what's wrong with that? I shouted loudly. You can love her well within her limited lifespan. Cherish her memory after she passes away, but you cannot let others be buried with her. But now it's fine, you can personally be buried with him. On the day Su Yenming was executed by firing squad, the Su family announced bankruptcy and entered debt restructuring. My parents also received a compensation payment from the Su family for Mu Xing, as ordered by the court. With my help, they appealed against the unsubstantiated violations and sold off the luxury items. Mu Xing's compensation just covered the remaining debts. I gave them the keys to the house with the basement. This house is for you to live in. There's still some compensation money left from Muxing. You have hands and feet, you can work and live a good life. Father lowered his head. Xiaoya, we were wrong, we shouldn't have. I turned and left, not even wanting to hear an apology. I will never forgive them. 6 years later, I participated in a legal education variety show as an outstanding lawyer representative. Facing the camera, I bravely told all female friends, when facing unfair treatment at work, domestic violence in marriage, or societal stereotypes imposed on women, we must bravely take up legal weapons to defend our rights. We were meant to live under the brilliant sun, walking our own path of flowers. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.